Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Triple N Media. I am Dr. NIK NIKAM and today we are going to learn some tips about handling images in Adobe Premiere CC 2017. The main thing we're going to focus will be on the duration of still images. Let's say you have taken pictures with your digital camera such as Nikon or Canon, then you want to create a slideshow in your Adobe Premiere using 1080p sequence. So here are some of the tips. When you open a sequence and insert any image that is the first image, the sequence takes the dimensions from that image. What I'm trying to say is, if it is a 720p image, then the size of the sequence will be 720p. So in order to make it 1080p, one trick I have learned is to get an image from Google Images, which is just a black background, which is already set to 1080p, and you can choose any color you like, and I would just put it here for 1 second, and then on top of that I am going to load my logo, which is NANO News Network. So that is how you can resize the image to be like exactly 1 second. So the rest of the sequence will be based on the first image that we place, which is 1080p, because I want to produce a HD video of this presentation. The next thing is, I have put my title here and my picture and photo credit. After that, I ask people to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you too, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. And next we are going to work on the images. In order to work on the images, we need to know where we set the image duration before we insert the pictures, and after we insert the pictures, how do we resize the images. So first, let's find out where the information regarding image duration is actually stored. For that, we need to go to Edit, click on Edit, come all the way to the bottom where it says Preferences, and click on Preferences, General Preferences. Once you come on General Preferences, then you go down the line. Here we have the appearance, audio hardware, all these different things. You go down the line and look for timeline. I said timeline. Under the timeline, now you can see video transition default duration is 30 frames per second. Audio transition default is 1 second, and still image default duration is 5 seconds. So let's leave it as it is right now. Now we are going to come to import some images. So I'm working on a new set of images which I have taken yesterday, and let's look at and see how we can work on these images. I have already put my logos on these images, so I don't need to put my logo again. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to copy like 10 images right now, about 12 images, and I am going to click. So I have this entire sequence of images. I don't need to change the sequence of images. All I'm going to do is drag this onto my timeline. Let me reduce the size so you can see the whole thing. Now we have all these 10 images. Since this was taken using Nikon D5200 24 megapixel camera, as you can see, the picture is too big for this screen. So the first step we need to do is highlight all these images and right click on it and say scale to frame size. Now all these images are scaled. Since the proportion of 24 megapixel is different from 1080p, you are going to see these black bands, and I would just ignore that. So now all the images have been resized. As you can see, all these images have been resized. But our next and more important step is to reduce the duration from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. While these images are highlighted, I would right click again and go to speed and duration. And once I am in speed and duration, as you can see, it says 4 seconds and 29 frames. So we need to reduce that to 2 seconds. I'm just dragging it to the left until I see 2, 0, 0. It may not be exactly 2. Okay, now it is 2. That is 2 seconds. But if you reduce them to 2 seconds and do nothing, then it's going to leave blank spaces between the slides. That's not what we want. So in order to reduce the duration and move the subsequent images close to the previous one, we have to click on Ripple Edit Shifting Trailing Clips. Check that box and say OK. Bingo! Now we got all these images which are just 2 seconds in duration. That is one way to do it. Now let's look at another way to do the same thing without having to go through the steps of changing the duration. So what we are going to do is we are going to go back to Edit. We go into Preferences, and in the Preferences we were already there. We go to Timeline, then we change this still image duration to 2 seconds and say OK. Now we have reset the image duration to 2 seconds. Let's see what the duration of these images is. Right click on the entire sequence, and as you can see, it is got still 4 seconds because the sequence settings have to be done before a sequence is started. So no problem. So we're going to change this to 2 and then move on to the next step. But in my case, I have a lot more images. I got like 500 images which I need to bring into the system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and import all the rest of the images. So we finished up to the 3rd row here. Then we're going to go to the rest of the images here, bring down all these images, roughly 450 images. Click on this, that's the last image. You bring all of these images together. It's going to take a while, but you get the picture. Okay, now we have all these images in a sequence. No problem, we just go back to sequence here, and then we start off with image 120. We deleted all this anyway. So we go to image 120 and then come all the way down to 700 something here, 786. Then we are going to drag these images and put them here. While they are okay, now you can see all these images are resized. I don't know why these images are not resized, but all the rest of them are all resized to 2 seconds, because if you look at these, let's see, the duration is 2 seconds. So let's go back, and what we are going to do is we are going to pull these images to the side and resize this to see. The interesting thing is once I changed the sequence settings and brought the new images, so the best thing would be to remove all the images and bring in after you have resized in the edit sequence steps. Okay, they are all resized now. So what I would do is simply bring it here. So the next thing we need to do is resize these images. So we simply highlight and then go to scale to image, so it will resize the images. Now this is a long segment here. What we do is we group the whole thing. That's why I leave spaces, because we can move the whole group as a unit. Now next thing, I'm going to go and scale to frame. Scale to frame. So I guess it probably did it. Okay, it has scaled to frame all, because this is on an SSD drive, so we got all these things. So that's how we reframe. That's how we reframe the images. I hope this has been useful to you, and please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you next time. In the next video, you can watch the entire 460 video slide presentation of this particular Ram Leela Kathak dance sequence. Thank you so much for your time.